Welcome to the Strategy Mob Podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
And I kind of want to get both of you guys' thoughts and opinions on this. And, right now with the pandemic, and with, with dealerships having to maybe redesign, some of their operations, we have this, I call this snowball of change. I mean, look, guys, we as an industry, we changed more in the last 3 months than we probably have in the last 30 years combined, as far as being more customer centric, instead of saying like, nope, there's only one way to buy a car from me. This is the only way. You have to come into my dealership and you have to follow my 12 steps. Now we're like, oh, okay, well, you know what? People can't come into the dealership. So we're gonna have to develop out different ways for the customer to engage with us. And I think that's beginning to trickle down. I want to keep the snowball of change going. And I think one of the biggest changes that we need to make in our dealership is the way we pay our team. And I'd love to kind of get you guys' thoughts on that. So, Fredrick, I'll start with you, and then Lou, I'll kind of ask you the same question. Kind of, what's your kind of thoughts and opinions and feelings on the commission or typical, sales payroll or sales, what the hell am I trying to say?
Oh, the pay plan?
Pay plan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a note of that real quick.
Pay plan.
Jeez.
Boom. All right.
I need another cup of coffee. Go ahead.
I do too, Jason. We're still brewing right now. It's still over it up. But you're right. It's so different. Like, I think that when it comes to pay plans, it really comes down to what your product is. When you're a new franchise store, and a franchise store these days, they compete. If you're, let's just bring Chevy up. Chevrolet, if you're a Chevy store, within a 100-mile radius, there might be 3 or 4 other stores. So you're competing pretty deep. And you're always constantly like, hey, this guy's going to hit this, this customer's calling in. This dealership promised me invoice minus this. So it's hard as a salesperson to make a commission on a new car. So when you're, so that is when I think that when it comes into having a slightly different pay plan for new car salespeople, it can really benefit you when it comes to like maybe like a stair step up to where like so many units you end up getting bonuses or whatnot. That can really help really well. Now, Lou and I, we've been for the last 7 years, been at a strictly just pre-owned store. And our pre-owned store, I think that it's a little bit on the opposite end. When it comes to the commission side, if we paid them flats, I think I would have my big guys leave because they prefer to make the commission. So I think it really comes down to the store. Now, when you're talking about the way the world is trending right now, I think that, yes, I think that the way pay plans I've seen out there change around, people are getting more salaries, they're getting bonuses, they're doing, and I've seen where hours are getting less, like they're starting to shift it up. And Lou and I, we've actually talked about and strategized on this next generation of people coming into the business. We need to be prepared for that because right now it's like 30% of this next generation is working in this business. Within the next 7 to 10 years, you're talking 70 to 80% of this generation is going to be in the business, and they're going to be in a lot of major positions in this business. So these people, from what I understand, I'm not in a generation, they like to work 30 hours a week to maybe 40 at the very most. Now that doesn't sound like a car guy, and that's not, at least not the one that we're used to, right?
What we know.
That's not the bell to bell that we're used to, right?
Right. But these people, they're so effective with those hours that's what they want to do. And they want to have that time off. They want to be able to hang out with their friends, go throw axes at the axe bar, whatever they want to do. They want to have fun and they want to go on vacations. They want to do these things. So if we can find a way to maybe, like Lou had a great idea, and I think this is an amazing idea, was to, and a lot of people from our school, the old school, flooding a showroom with a ton of salespeople can be scary because a lot of salespeople start getting frustrated. Like, man, I don't have enough for myself. But with this new generation, you can do like half shift. So you can really bring in, let's say you have an average 10 people on your floor. Now you can put 15 to 20 people on your floor, splitting up shifts because people want to work less hours. And then you pay them salary, you pay them bonuses for hitting so many units, you give them incentive for working a little bit more, but they can make their minimum and they're happy with that.
And it depends on what their function is.
That's
true. It depends on if
they're
waiting for people to show up because the BDC is setting appointments for them, or if they're physically present, being the BDC themselves, being the ones that are generating. But I'll let you keep going and I'll break down.
No, and that's a great point. I'm glad you said something about that, Lou, is that, there is dealers. A majority of dealers now are going to BDCs. They're using them, and they're great. You know, BDCs are very strong. I've heard people talk about you got to have a BDC because they're a left brain, and then you got to have your sales floor because they're right brain. But Lou and I, just so you guys know out there, when we train our salespeople, we teach them to be their own BDC. We teach them how to get strong on the phones, because today's world, you got to be good on social media. You have to be strong on the phones. You know, lot ups are becoming less and less, especially with this whole COVID thing. You're not going to see them as much. Even if they do, they're riding through, and they're like, hey, you know, I don't want to, you know, and it, you know, because, you know, we've been going through a wave of this, you know, it's been dropping and then the numbers go back up. So things are changing. States are opening, then reclosing, and then going back a phase or whatever. So you have to go with the times. And I'm going to tell you, it's these things, the dealers that are doing this now, that are making these adjustments for all this type of stuff, they're doing really well. And I think that they're going to be doing even better as it opens up. A lot of people are like, well, it's going to go back to normal. No,
we don't want it to go back to normal for sure, right?
It's always going to different.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy Mob podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to sign up to be a mobster at strategymob.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.